Hello and welcome to episode 30 of my crochet podcast. My name's Marta and I can't believe I've made 30 episodes already. I'm quite chuffed with that. I started back in, I think, November 2021 and I've been podcasting roughly every 2 weeks. Sometimes there's a 3 or 4 week break around Christmas or around the summer if I take a little break then. But generally every 2 weeks, and I film on a Thursday, and all going well I get it quickly edited and up on YouTube that same day. So that is my kind of schedule, and that's been going well for me. Recently I've started adding other videos as well, things like stitch tutorials, yarn reviews and things like that. Shorter videos, 4 to 6 minutes long, that you might want to dip into. Have a look on my channel if you're interested in any of that. So I'm a crochet designer, so the videos are all crochet related, although in my podcast I do generally talk about a couple of knitting projects as well, because I do like to knit in my spare time. So I'm going to dive in with a pattern which I released this week, which was my Fields of Wheat beanie. Here it is. This is worked up in a sample of yarn which I dyed myself. It's dyed with onion skins and iron mordant. There was an aluminium mordant as well. And I dyed this a good few years ago. I think, I don't even remember actually what base it's on. Pure wool of some kind, I don't remember. This was one of the many samples I worked up whilst I was creating this hat. So like I say, it was released this week on the Tuesday. It's an intermediate level pattern. You actually start here at the bottom of the wheat stalks and you work up to the crown, and then you turn it upside down, I guess, and you work, well, yeah, you then work down the way, if that makes sense, from where you started. So it's worked in 2 distinct sections, and these are post stitches for the stalks of the wheat. In further samples I worked out how to straighten these so they came straight down. In this one they do swirl a little bit. It was just little tweaks like that. Every time I made it, I made just those few small changes until I was happy with it. And this pattern was first released in British Fibre Art magazine issue 23, and then last year I released it as part of my Winter Coorie collection, together with the Cornflower Cowl and what else? As soon as I said Winter Coorie collection and together with, I thought, gosh, what else did I release in that bundle? There were 3 patterns. There was this, there was the Cornflower Cowl, and the Lyre socks. So the other 2 patterns, you can only get them in the Winter Coorie collection, and later on in the year I'm going to release them on their own. This is the first one from the collection that I've released on its own as a standalone pattern, and it's now up on Ravelry and on my website. I haven't actually put it on Lovecrafts yet, but I will pop it on Lovecrafts. Although I can't remember what this one's designed in. I'm guessing it's superwash merino, actually, going by the feel of it. I don't remember, I'm guessing, but the pattern itself is actually written up for alpaca. I used Juniper Moon Farms Harriet in DK weight, and I've also, the version that was in British Fibre Art magazine was crocheted in alpaca from UK Alpaca, a UK yarn company specialising in alpaca. So both those yarns are very interchangeable. I didn't notice much difference between them, even in colour. They were, I've used natural colours for it. Anything else I want to say? Discount code. There is 10% off this pattern. I don't remember that discount off the top of my head. Yes, I do. It's MAR23, MAR23, and that'll give you 10% off the pattern throughout the month of March, because I've just put it straight to pattern of the month. No mucking about with this one. I didn't do kind of early bird and then a few months later made a pattern of the month. I've just gone straight for a pattern of the month, and that is for the month of March. I'm going to be promoting this one, and yeah, go and grab the pattern for 10% off. If you want 20% off, go and jump on my mailing list, because although I've already given that code out to my mailing list, it'll be down at the bottom throughout the month of March, and you can get 20% off. as well as be notified of other releases and the biggest discounts code. So you heard me say there's a 10% one that I'll give to, you know, YouTube and Instagram, Facebook, etc. But it's always 20% or bigger, whatever. It's always more, you know, whether it's a 15 and a 25, whatever it is. It's always a bigger discount for my mailing list. So if you are interested in crochet patterns, do go hop on that. I'll put that link in the description as well. I'm going to have another pattern release on Tuesday. They're like buses. I haven't released a pattern, I don't think, since maybe October last year, a standalone pattern. And now, last Tuesday there was that one, this Tuesday there's this one, and it is my wee To the Park cardigan. It is a super cute cardigan. This is it in the smallest size, in the short sleeve version. There is a long sleeve version as well. And this week on YouTube I released a video for how to do the I-cord cable ties. So if you're interested in that technique, you can go and check that one out. And it's got cables, this one, just simple crochet crossed cables with a triple treble crochet in UK terms, or a double treble crochet if you're in US terms. And I made a video for that, which I haven't actually put up yet. I've made it, I need to edit it and put it up. That video will be going up next week. So there will be little video tutorials to help you with this one. It's fairly straightforward. It starts at the yoke, and once you've set up, it's a little fiddly to get these cables in the right position. So it is an intermediate level pattern, definitely not a beginner, this one. But once you're set up, and there is a video for how to do the setup, and one of the things I do say is, if you're a stitch out or a stitch too many, just, you know, add in a decrease or add in an increase, whatever you need to do. Don't stress it. Nobody will notice. As long as you have the right number of stitches at the end, all will be good with this one. It's very forgiving. Crochet is that way. You know, you can add in those extra stitches where you need to, or take them out. So, To the Park cardigan for babies and toddlers, 6-month size, 12 months, 18 months and 24 months. So it's just in a few sizes. And I will try and pop a photo in from the photo shoot, because my friend's little boy, who's called Marta, modelled that for me. Mum took the photos. It was easier for me just to leave her with the cardigan, and she's taken the photos, and he just looks so cute in it. So I will pop a photo of that in before I move on to the next section. And I hope you like that. So that's coming on Tuesday, and like I say, hop on my mailing list if you want that 20% discount, because I'll put an early bird discount code out for that pattern, probably for the 1 week, just to get some interest, get some sales in that first week, get things rolling. So folks like yourselves can make it and help me spread the word and get the pattern out there. It's freezing today. I've got a lovely warm cup of tea here. It's a lemon, ginger and manuka honey one. I've got my scarf on that my mum made me. I've got my cosy jumper on that my mum made me. And it is bitterly, bitterly cold. I took the dog out just before lunch, just so I'd have the whole afternoon free this time. And it's so cold. Just bitter, bitter wind. Just looking at my neighbour's Scottish flag they've got flying there. Yeah, it's coming from the north, and it is very, very cold. No snow though. I know parts of England have snow, but we haven't had any snow exactly where I am. Further north and further inland there has been snow, but here on the east coast we haven't had any yet. Right, I have a finished object which I finished between the last podcast and this one, and that is my Tunisian cowl. This one still doesn't have a name. I will need to get some finished photos and put a name suggestion post up on Instagram. So if you can think of any, if you're a podcast viewer and you're not on Instagram, or if you just think of something just now for this cowl, let me know. I'll take off my mum's shawl and I'll... Oh, that's so cozy. Yeah, love it. Let's sit up a bit straighter there. It's really, really lovely. Sits kind of like that, and it's got that basket weave pattern. I don't know if you remember, have I got my little notebook? beside me. Oh, it's way down there on the floor. I designed it and I had actually put a scalloped edge with sort of shells just down the bottom edge, so it wouldn't be up here, just down the bottom, and I put them in. I did not like it. Did not like it one bit. And funnily enough, just that very day I had in my newsletter to my list, I'd put about try the crab stitch border. So when the shell stitches didn't work, I went straight for crab stitch. Let's see, can you see it? I just love a crab stitch border. It's just so simple, and it just kind of neatens up the ends, neatens up the edges, and gives it kind of a final look. And it doesn't look like it's crocheted or knitted or anything. It just complete, I think is the word. It kind of completes things. I really like it. Here. I'm sure I've got bits of fluff in my throat as well. I've just realised what's wrong. Do you know, I was setting up the camera and it was really bugging me that these tassels behind me were just kind of just in frame and no more. Usually I sit here and I sit on a few cushions. That's what it is. And it just brings me up a bit, gets the tassels more in. I could not think what the problem was. I thought it was just to do with the stand or something. Oh, I might keep this on now. Now I've got it on. Keep this on. I don't know if I'm going to keep it for me or if I'm going to gift it or what. It maybe depends who models it for me. I might give it away to the model, which I sometimes do if it's a friend or family member that's modelling for me. In the minute I can't afford to pay them, so I often give them the item, which is what happened with the Park Cardigan. I've gifted it to my model, and usually after a photo shoot I'll say, can I keep it for a few weeks, a month, while I promote it when the pattern's going out, and I just gave it straight away, so I don't even have that finished cardigan. It's gone. And I think the wee boy's been wearing it. He loves it. Well, Mum loves it. He is just over a year old. Don't suppose he cares what he wears. Mum really likes him in it, so he's been wearing it a lot. So yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that. If she likes it, then other mums, grannies, aunties, uncles, whoever is crocheting or buying if it's being sold might like it too. Right, I'm going to move on to the things that I've been working on, my whips. So, whips. I have started the second sock. This is my second painting triangle socks, and these are for Claudia, who is Sunbird Crochet. So Claudia, when you're watching this, look away, because you don't want to spoil the surprise. Oh, almost held it up. Well, we've seen this much so far. You've still got a moment to look away, because I did share it to about here on the last podcast. So now I have finished the first sock. Look, I am really, really happy with this. This, if you don't know, this is a pattern by Stephen West, Painting Triangles Socks, and it's part of Stephen's Year of Socks. And this is the February design, and I've worked it pretty much as per pattern. One thing I didn't do, I didn't lose stitches for the foot, so the foot is the same thickness as the leg, which means my gusset is a little shorter. I didn't decrease those extra stitches, and I think apart from that I followed it as per pattern. Pretty chuffed with that. Hasn't been blocked yet, and I cast it off 2 nights ago and just cast on sock number 2 straight away. I've used a tubular cast on, which I really like. Lovely and stretchy, and see, it's just such a good finish. Takes a bit of practice, but now I can do it without watching a YouTube video. Woohoo! I definitely recommend Isolda's video. If I remember, I'll put a link to that. Isolda Teague has a brilliant tubular tubular cast on video here on YouTube. That's the one which I learned from. So my main colour is For the Love of Yarn, which is a Glasgow based indie dyer. And I have this one, it's sock weight yarn. My other colours, the blue is Regia, the pink is Lan Yarns, the mustardy colour is Hobbii yarns, the Unicorn Solids. I'm back to more Regia. The green is Paintbox Yarns Sock Solids, I think, Sock Solids. Paintbox yarns anyway, from Lovecrafts. And then we're back to more of the Hobbii yarn. This green should have been red. It should have been a kind of bright red. I lost it. I only had a little ball about this size. That's all I had, and it has rolled somewhere. Cannot find it. I looked and I looked. I stalled working on these for a few days as I looked. I don't know where it's gone. Not a Scooby, so I gave up and I switched in for green. So I hope you like the green, Claudia. I think the red would have been better, but green works. I'm okay with the green. I like these three the best, and I guess they're the three that are going to be on show the most, so I'm happy with that. All the ends are sewn in, and you can see my floats look pretty even. Brand new technique for me, slipping stitches, and well, slipping stitches I've done before, but I guess not in colour work like this. So you're only using one colour per round, and the stripes are created by slipping stitches, which is brand new to me. I really liked it. You may remember I had to frog. I got to about here and I realised something was wrong and I had to frog right back to here. But I got back on track. By the time I'd reached this one, I didn't need to look at the pattern anymore. Well, apart from the heel, obviously. I hadn't done a garter stitch heel like this before either. Lovely and stretchy, in both directions, well, all directions. But yeah, I guess that way especially. I think it's going to be good for going over the heel. And I hope Claudia likes them. She has made me a shawl. She showed it in her last podcast episode, and I was watching on my phone and I just flipped my phone upside down, so I could hear her talking, but I couldn't actually see the shawl, so I don't know what that looks like. I do know it's a lovely orange colour because I did see a few pictures which she shared on her stories. So I'm sending her the socks, she's sending me a shawl, and that's going to be great. Looking forward to, I think we're both looking forward to receiving our parcels. Something fun. Don't know why I said that so loud and squeaky. Okay. Next up, crocheted blanket. The one I'm designing myself. I'll look at this one first and then I'll share my Battenberg blanket in a minute. A few ends here, but generally I'm on top of the ends. Let's hold it this way and I'll try and speak up because I know my voice is now behind the blanket. So this is the main part of the blanket. The blue granny square will run down the centre. Next, it's going to be symmetrical. So next, this row here of granny squares is going to be added there. Let's see if I can hold it all. It's all kind of staying on me because I'm all wool. Yeah, you get the idea. And then I have a final row of granny squares, and that's going to go about here. And then there'll be more rows of stripes in that gap. And then it will be the same on, without disturbing it all, same on this side, so it'll mirror. Yeah, about here. And then a border around the whole thing. Do you get the idea? I'm really chuffed with it. It's going to look good. It's working up the way I hoped. And judging by the responses I'm getting on social media, I think it's going down well. People seem to be liking it. So I'm pleased with that. I'm using Hobbii yarns. It is the Friends Extra Fine Merino in a double knitting weight, and I have 6 colours. I may need to order some more yarn. We will see. I might just need to, just in a couple of the colours. I think I've predominantly used the darker pink and the blue so far, so we'll see. I'll probably know once I finish these granny square strips if I'm going to need to order some more or not. It's kind of hard to tell. I have tension squared it and worked it out, but different stitches are using more or less yarn than I expected. So it's not an all even kind of look to it. So I did work out the tension. Well, I worked out the tension and then I worked out how much yarn based on doing it all in the granny squares and then based on doing it all in rows of treble crochet. So it's somewhere in the middle between those two. So that pattern I've been writing up as I go along, and I think that's been going okay. And I will just carry on with that, and testing will probably start early summer, kind of May, June kind of time, I think. May, is that a bit optimistic? End of May possibly for testing. Certainly June sometime, and that'll be good. I'll allow testers a good probably 2 months, because by then we'll be coming into more of the blanket kind of season. So, although on the last podcast I asked what kind of things you crocheted, if you crocheted seasonally or if it was all the same, and I got some varied responses. Some people said that they did crochet seasonally, but more because they were crocheting what they would need for the next season rather than because it was too hot to crochet a certain item. Others said nope, they just crochet, and some said, what was the other response? Some said yes, and somebody said that they work and they just, I think they were possibly in South Africa, certainly in a very hot country, they just work over a table and then they don't have the weight of heavy yarn, cozy yarn on top of them in the summer months, which is sensible. Good plan. Right, onto my Battenberg blanket. In terms of the main blanket, I don't think I've added much actually. I've added a little bit at each end, so a few squares here and just a few squares here, not too much. Maybe a total of 12 to 15 squares. I did not put a marker in, so don't quote me on that. So not too much in here, but I have a whole bag. If I take out these 2 balls, I've made a whole bag of squares and the ends are all sewn in. I've been quite busy on those. I wouldn't say that I would do a certain amount every day. I tend to do none for a few days and then I'll sit one evening and just do, I don't know, 8 to 10 while I watch an episode of something on TV. So it's working out fine that way. I binge it, I suppose. I would say that honeymoon period that I had in January is definitely over. I was working on it a lot. Hang on, what's I saying? But yeah, I'm still enjoying it and still keeping up with it. There is a group run by Mariette, who is the Boufrau on Instagram, and Liani, who is independence_yarn_crafts, and they're both running a make-along. There are some people knitting the blanket, even though it's a crochet blanket, but there's some people kind of using the same principle and knitting it, which is lovely. And the pattern is by Sandra Paul. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I should be able to link that below because I'll just copy and paste it from my last one. And yeah, there's an Instagram group for the make-along, and we had a Zoom meeting last weekend on the Sunday morning, and that was really good. There were folks from South Africa, Portugal, Germany, Australia, of course I was here, I live in Scotland in the UK. Was that all the countries I covered? Possibly more, certainly all those ones. So it was good to be there and be able to get together with people throughout the world and have a wee chat, see where everyone's at, because we're all following the same pattern more or less, but different joining methods. There are a few people knitting, there's a few people using different yarn thicknesses, so it was really good to see all the variations and just have a quick chat with everyone. So yeah, recommend that. It's a 2-year make-along, so I'm in no hurry. I laid it out on my king-size bed and it's about that short. I'm working along the length, so kind of from pillow to foot, if you like. And it's probably only about that short where I want it to be, which is why I've deviated from kind of the big square I started from. I wanted to work down the length and that will help me see just how big I'm wanting it to be. Once I get the length, I will then be able to fill in those end ones, and I'll start working, well, probably from these bits. I'll start working in here on both sides and work it that way. I have exhausted all the different types of, all the different colourways, I guess, all my oddballs I've used, but not all of them, if you know what I mean. I've still got, this is my basket, minus the black. We're definitely not putting black in this blanket. If you know me, you know I don't like black. So these colours I have, but I guess I've made, you know, 3 or 4 in each of the colours. So I have run out of new colourways. Did I say in the last podcast that my friend Julia had kindly given me some yarn and all in new skeins? So I wound it up for her into cakes. Now I have my ball winder and just took a square or 2 from each of the skeins, depending on whether they were full 100-gram skeins or 20-gram minis. So that did give me some variety. So yeah, I have slowed down a little bit. I need to knit some socks and start some new yarn. I don't even really have, I'm just looking across, I've got this one, which is from my Mama Knits. So I don't even have many skeins, you know, even if I was to start a new project. I'm not a huge stashed yarn person. I have a trug here, and some balls over there. I've got my cottons. Oh, can I reach across? Sorry about that clunk. I keep my cottons all in this basket. I love this basket. Found this one in a charity shop. And yeah, cottons are all in there. Oh, and a little doll. Hello, little doll. Not quite sure why you're in there. Probably just tidied her up. Yeah, I don't really have like a massive stash, really. Probably because before I had my craft space, this room here, I was really short on space. So probably something I'll continue with. Just trying to keep the stash small, use up what I have, like a lot of folks are doing at the minute. Just using what we have. Lynn, who is the Wool Nest, is running a hashtag which is Take One Thing 2023. If you want to join in with that, you just take, like, whether that's one skein, whether that's an abandoned whip, whether that's a pattern you've had lying about, whatever it is that you have already, just taking that and finishing or using it. That's quite a good hashtag if you're looking for something fun. So I will try and link Lynn's Instagram in the description too. So those are my whips. I have 3 whips. Technically, if you've been following me for a while, I can see it over there. I do have the sea glass sweater. That is still in, pardon me, that is still in, it's not in the naughty corner, it's in hibernation, we'll call it that. I think when I finish these socks, I'll try and get back to it. I guess my goal was to have it finished for Christmas Day, and then if you were watching, I got all the way down to the waistline and realised my arms didn't fit through the armholes. It was just, well, they did, but it was ridiculously tight, and I had to frog from the waistband all the way up to the sleeve split. And I've started it again, and I think I've done the next kind of inch, and I think I'm going to frog it again and make them even wider than what I had done. So it's over there. I've got it so I can see it. I haven't actually covered it up or put it in a bag. I can see it, and then it's in my mind, because I definitely will finish it. It will be one for next winter, and it will be like this jumper I'm wearing today. It's got 2 layers, and this one is worked in alpaca, and it's stranded colour. Is it stranded colour? I don't know. My mum made it. I don't know. It's definitely got 2 colours worked all the way around, so it's really cosy, and that is the same because it's a 1x1 stranded colour work is what the sea glass sweater is. Anyway, I'll hopefully get it out soon. I think I'll finish these socks for Claudia I know what I'm doing now, so I should be able to get through them pretty quickly. Well, I maybe challenge myself to have them finished by the next podcast. 2 weeks, maybe. Maybe I might do. Oh, it's snowing. Wow. It's snowing. That's so cool. If it's still snowing when I finish, I'm going to do a little bit of editing today, and I'll maybe just get a wee video looking out the window and show you the snow. Oh, that is proper exciting. I love snow. Love it, love it, love it. It was certainly cold enough when I was out on my walk. I thought snow is not far away. Not at all. Will we have enough to go sledging? Gosh, I'm so excited. I just spilled tea. Anyway, right, I have one last thing to show you, and that is a new project, which I haven't started yet, but I have chosen the wool for. Can we get that grey one in shot? Yeah. So it's 4 skeins. I will show you them all one at a time. Firstly, we have this gorgeous magenta colour. This is from Fibre Speeds, and it is their Scrumptious Lace, and it's 45% silk and 55% merino, and the colour is magenta, so I was right in saying it was magenta. I am going to also be using this lovely grey, which is Sublime Lace, Extra Fine Merino. Anything else about it? It's kind of hidden in the ball. Oh, here we go. It's 100% wool. I'm guessing 100% merino, and it's lace weight as well. I have this one, and this is Yarn Garden Cobweb, and the colourway is Australian Copper, brackets Rose, and it is 80% ultrafine merino and 20% silk. And I have this one also from Yarn Garden, and it's slightly different. It is the colourway Fancy Frills, and it is 50% Royal Baby Alpaca, 30% ultrafine merino and 20% silk. So these 3 have a bit of silk in them, and I've just noticed this one doesn't. I may change this one out. I hadn't noticed the silk content. I've just been looking at the yarns, because I think there is an extra. I got these from my mum. Initially I gifted these 3 to her, actually. They were given to me. Someone had a D-stash, they were given to me, and at the time I was not interested in lace weight yarn at all. So I gave it to my mum, and this is me clawing it back, because there is a pattern in, where is the book? I thought I had it right at my side, and now I don't seem to. Not sure where it's gone. There is a pattern in the shawl book by the Crochet Project, which I showed you in the last podcast, and I don't see it around me here at all. It's not even on the floor. Don't know what I've done with it. Don't know, it's not even on that table. So there's a pattern in that, and I can't even remember what it's called because it's snowing outside and everything's gone out of my head. Pattern in that that needs 4 colours of lace weight yarn. All the patterns in that little booklet are lace weight, and that's the one I've chosen to try first. And yeah, I'm going to crack on with that now that I've finished my Tunisian Cowl. Did I finish actually talking about this? I don't think I did. So this one is in yarn from Holstgarn. It is their Cielo or Cielo base, which is 42% alpaca, 42% merino and 16% polyamide. So it's absolutely lovely. It's a chained yarn. It worked up beautifully. It doesn't tangle. It just works so nicely, and I love the effect. I love how it's really trapping in the air, I think, and making this feel so cozy. I'm enjoying wearing this, and it's not itchy, which is good. Not scratchy at all, and yeah, I've written it up apart from grafting. I'm going to have to take it off. This one is grafted, which is a method I picked up in my, is that the join? True. Oh, it'll be good if the join is so good I can't even see where it is. That'll prove how well I have joined it. I see it now. Do I? Yeah. Here it is. Can you see? Kind of down the middle between my fingers, the join. So I did muck up, but about 2/3 of the way across I ended up one stitch out. So one edge is a lot better than the other. Yes, this edge here is pretty good, and then I made a slight error and there's a little bit of a stagger further up here. However, I was going to go with it. With this yarn, it's so tricky to... General unravelling was fine, but when I was trying to unravel or unpick bits which I'd sewn with a tapestry needle, it did not like it at all. So, oh gosh, look at my hair. I just went with it and carried on. So the grafting method was in the Crochet Basics and Beyond course by Joanne Scrace of the Crochet Project, and I have an affiliate link for all Joanne's courses in the hub, the membership area she has, so you can either take the course as a standalone or you can join the membership and you'll get the course in that. Either way, I will put the link to it in the description if you want to go and check it out. No obligation. Once you click on the link you can go and have a wee look, see what you think, and if you use my link then I will get a small percentage, which all helps with buying yarn, producing patterns, paying tech editors, that kind of thing. Helps my crochet business. Okay, final thing to chat to you about is a new design. Here we go. Just checking that's on screen. Yeah. This is a new sweater design I have for a raglan sweater, and I am working on the grading course, which I've been looking forward to starting for quite a while, and now it started last week with Lynn Rao, who I mentioned earlier, the Take One Thing hashtag. Lynn is a tech editor and a crocheter and a knitter, and she is writing up the grading course, and I am her guinea pig at the minute, and she's writing it up as she teaches it to me, which is really, really cool because it's something I've wanted to do for quite a while. It's the main reason that I've stopped writing garment patterns, because I really do want them to be size inclusive and easy to understand, and easy to access for you as well, for it to just make sense and flow well, and not to be kind of guessing and, you know, I don't really know about that. I'll just throw in some numbers and hope for the best. I do want them to be well thought out patterns. So I'm doing this grading course and it is fantastic. I had to do a little bit of homework, finding out about different sweater constructions and the shapes of the sleeves that would create, which was good fun. I had to do work out measurements and things based on things like the bust measurement, the waist measurement, sleeve depth, arm circumference, so I've had to do a bit of research on that, and so it's all been really interesting. And then looking at different types of garments, mostly crochet. I did look at knitted as well, because knitting often influences my designs. Often I do quite like to take what I can see in knitting and see if I can create a crocheted version. So I have chosen this kind of shape, and I've deliberately highlighted the raglan edges. So is this a raglan? No, I think this is more of a set-in sleeve on this one. But the raglan one, can you see this join here? So that would come from under the arms up to the collar, that kind of traditional diagonal, which would repeat on the back, would be your raglan shape. And I am actually going to crochet it, and it'll be a bottom up. It'll be in panels, so it'll be a front panel, a back panel. The sleeves will be worked flat, and then like this one, this This was in the design. This is not my mum. That was the way that was designed. I don't really like it. She didn't like it either. It really bugged her. But yes, this will be seamed in mattress stitch and same with the seam down the side. And then this seam here, I will do in a double crochet design on, double crochet join rather, on the right side, so that there will be that ridge like I can show you on the blanket. I'm doing a double crochet join on my battenberg blanket. So this is the back and it has this, can you see the ridge? So I'm going to have that as a feature, front and back, and I'll make sure that the stitches face opposite directions, so you'll either come down that one and up that one, or vice versa, to make sure that otherwise you would have one lying kind of to one side and the other one lying kind of the same. Just to make sure it mirrors, I'll have them one going one way, one going the other. And yeah, I can kind of picture it in my head. The details, I haven't chosen exactly the stitch that I'm going to use yet, but I'm picturing, I'm just going to keep it a bit of a surprise just now, but I'm picturing colours. I'm possibly thinking of some stripes in there as well. And yeah, looking forward to starting this. So the next step is for me to work out a little diagram, a bigger schematic, and work out my sizes just for making it for my size particular, and do a swatch, work out what stitch pattern I'm going to do and do a swatch. Those are my next steps. So that is fun. Really pleased to be getting on with this, and writing up a sweater design which will be available in 9 sizes from extra small to 5X. So look out for that. Do sign up to my newsletter if you haven't already, because that's where I'll be sharing little bits about that and about the pattern itself when the time comes. And it'll keep you updated on when I release podcasts and videos, special offers, blog posts, all that kind of stuff. Right, well, I'm going to go and see if I can get a picture of the snow, which doesn't seem to be lying, which is a shame, but it is falling. And yeah, I can see it out my window. I'll take a picture or a wee slide and a wee video and let you see the snow coming down. And yeah, have a good couple of weeks. I shall be back and I'll have more crochet news. Hopefully I'll have started this, and we'll see. I've challenged myself now. We'll see if I can finish those socks in 2 weeks. I should be able to. I am confident of that now that I know what I'm doing with the pattern. We'll crack on and get that done. So I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye.